All right, guys, welcome to a new and another episode of Flip Miami with me, Rob Blufe. I am your host, and yes, I have a very special guest. He's a good friend of mine. He's another wholesaler down here in Miami in the 305. Really good dude. I've been known him for a couple years now. There it is. He started late in the business. Not late, but he's done a ton of deals in just a short amount of time. Hustler, has an office, works, has a team, fix and flips, wholesale. He does it all. This guy's like the most interesting man in the world here. So
What? That where did that start?
uh so then I brought him on. I wanted to bring him on because Mike is a good dude. He's been doing this for a couple years. He runs a team. He does fix and flips. He's got a ton of different skill sets. He likes to pump people up, and I love that about him. So, yo, thanks for coming on, man. I really do appreciate it.
Yo, thank you for having me, man.
I love it. I love it. Mike, so yeah, I know we know each other obviously on a personal level, but I wanna kind of start from the beginning. I want you, if I met, I don't know if I've ever asked you this before, but let's say I would have met you in high school. Let's say we would have gone to high school together. Who was Mike in high school? Were you like a good student? Did you play sports? Like who was Mike, in high school? And where did you go to high school to, by the way?
Damn, this is happening. I'm Mike from high school.
Yeah.
So no, I didn't go. They're asking me right now if I was a good student. So no, I wasn't, man. I always joke around that whoever meets my mom always asks, how was your son? And like her eyebrows go up, and they're kind of like, shit, this kid put me through hell. So no, I wasn't that good student, but I've always been a good family guy, so I was able to get away with a lot of things because I'm blonde, I have green eyes, so nobody ever expected me to be the bad kid.
Yeah,
I always looked like that American little kid in Coral Park Senior High, and hanging out with like the wrong crowd. But the wrong crowd looked like the wrong crowd, and then there was this little preppy white guy, doing all the evil shit. But everybody was like, "You, what are you doing hanging out with this crowd?" And I was like the leader, and I was like, "I don't know. These people are bad people. I'm out of here." So yeah, man, my high school years were fun. I'll tell you, I didn't learn much, but they were really fun. I entertained myself a lot. I met a lot of cool people. They used to call me Crazy Mike in high school.
really?
And, yeah, because I was very like, a little bit explosive with everything I do. And then they would call me Mr. Happy for many reasons. But one of them was I was very social. And I had friends like in JROTC. I had friends in the prep school. I had friends in like, the basketball team. I had friends in the, like the ghetto. And I was like this neutral guy, just walking around the hallways. What's up? What's up? What's up?
Yeah, so you were kind of like you weren't the good straight A student. You were more of like you probably were closer to winning like the class clown type of award.
Yeah, more the class clown type of award. Exactly. I wasn't getting the student of the year.
The valedictorian.
No, I wasn't becoming the valedictorian.
That's good, bro. But no, it's good to. I like to ask that question because some people are like, "Oh yeah, but Mike's got money now, or Mike does deals now." But yeah, dude, Mike in high school was hanging out with certain people. Mike wasn't a straight A student. Mike wasn't he wasn't born through like a wealthy family or anything like out of this world. So it's important to see that like people come from regular beginnings, dude. Like you could have been like challenged in high school as far as academically. I wasn't even a good student, and you could still come out and do something with yourself. Like what was that like when you were like leaving high school and all this stuff? When did like that shift in your mind start happening? Like, oh shit, like I can't be eating shit too much anymore. Like I have to take things a little bit more serious.
Yeah, man, I was a late bloomer, so I honestly, came out of high school, kept eating shit for a couple of years, involved with the crowds that maybe weren't the winners in the end of the year. And, I probably wasn't the guy that people expected to be like, hey, this guy's going to be a businessman. He's going to, come along and build something that could be profitable and put together a team. I probably wasn't the guy that's what they were talking about. So, when did I really start waking up? Maybe around, my late 20s, early 30s was when I really took on, life as something serious. And I actually, there was like a moment in my life when something happened to me. And one day I just sat there staring at myself in the mirror and said, all right, so what you're saying is that this is what people think of me. I can't allow this shit to happen. And if this is what people are thinking of me, then this is not a good thing. And at that moment, I made a very drastic decision in my life, and I became very, very strict with the way I was. And, I've always been into personal development, but I was more the guy that would go there, learn something, and then go right back to my habits. So then I realized maybe this is not going to work like this. So, it was the first time I said, you know what, I'm going to get what I'm learning in these places, which I have a lot of knowledge, but actually apply them and take life very serious. And man, honestly, it was the best decision of my life, because I swear to you, my business, my life, everything just quantum leaped and catapulted straight up.
Right. Fuck, that's awesome, dude. Yeah. I remember we had spoken.
I'm saying hi to people on Instagram right now because I'm going live with you while you're asking me questions. I also just wanted to let you know if I'm talking to myself, it's over there to someone else.
We got the lives going here.
We got the lives, baby.
Yeah. So, dude, and that's interesting, man, because I sometimes it's like a moment, right? Like for you had a specific moment, something that happened to you, and then. But for some people, they don't have these moments. Like they don't have some like near death experience or some crazy thing. So like they're kind of lost in the sauce of, should I change now, later? Am I going to be ready right now to change? Am I going to be ready later? Like, what would you say to these people who are like, they want to do something, right? Let's say they want to start real estate investing, or they want to start selling cars, or I don't know, doing whatever. But they're like, I'm not ready yet. Like you clearly, or me, but you clearly weren't ready to start business. Like no one is, like what would you say to this person? Like what kind of advice would you give that you think can help them?
Yeah, man, look, one thing that I learned, at least for me, I started chasing the money, this one thing that happened to me was money related. And so, I didn't know what I was going to chase, but I realized that in real estate, there's a lot of money to be made. So I don't know if I'm going to sit here and say, oh my God, I was in love with wholesaling and I was extremely passionate about, flipping contracts and any of that. But I saw friends of mine that had capital. They were generating some big money. And, one thing that I told myself was, this is the avenue I'm jumping into, and I'm not going to get out of this avenue until I make money. So it was the first time in my life, because I was a jumper, right? My dad and my mom always knew me as the jumper. I would go to these events, and then, I would be at a networking event or a pharmaceutical, not a pharmaceutical, one of the MLMs. And they would tell me I'm going to be a millionaire, and I would come back all fucking fired up. And I was like, I'm going to be a millionaire, mom, dad, my friends. And they were like, oh, here comes Mike again with one of these, I'm going to be a millionaire messages. And I would be calling on my friends, come to the event, man. Trust me, just come. You're going to make money. And in real estate, when I jumped in, I said, you know what, man, this is the first time that I'm going to stay quiet. I'm going to stay silent, and I'm going to commit to this, whether it takes me 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. This is an industry that makes money. This is an industry that many professionals are involved in. And I just got to stop looking left. I got to stop looking right. And I got to commit to my success. And man, it was the first time I made one of those burn the bridges or burn the boat models. And I never looked back. And people would shoot me opportunities, and I was like, no. And I was making no money. And people were like, hey, Mike, I know that you're good at this. Why don't you jump in with me? And I was like, no, I'm a real estate agent, real estate investor. Oh, you have money? No, I'm a real estate investor. Hey, you want to come to MLM? No, I'm a real estate investor. Hey, you should sell impact windows with me? No, I'm a real estate investor. I got so strict with myself that I was a licensed agent. And friends of mine were like, hey, I want to buy this house. Hey, listen, man, I'm sorry, I'm not an agent. Dude, but, you can just, show me a few houses. I'm sorry, bro, I'm not an agent. Because I convinced my brain to believe that if I go and do that agent work, I'm going to take away time from becoming a better wholesaler. And I knew that I was losing $9,000, but I was like, $9,000 is not equal 500,000 that I can make as a wholesaler. So screw that shit. Nah, man, I'm sorry. Here, call my friend. He can help me. That's how strict I put myself through the process.
That's really interesting, man, because there's a lot of key points you touched there that like, you kind of like briefly went over, but I think can be really eye-opening. Like going from that place, you're like, oh shit. Going from that place that you're like jumping from idea to ideas, it's okay, right? Like it's okay to not know what you want to do, but the fact that you went so strict on you that you literally went to another extreme, like you said, yo, I'm not touching I'm not making another phone call. It's not like real estate investing. I'm not dealing with anybody. Why do you think that was important? Like, why do you think that was good for you? And like, how did you get there? You get me? Because you had that trend of going from here to there, and then all of a sudden you did the real estate thing and stopped there. Like, why and how did you like get there?
Yeah, man. Now more than ever, I understand why people that look at too many shiny stars don't end up making it anywhere. Right now, today more than ever, I think about the brain power that I have and the ability to be able to looking at 2 or 3 things at the same time. I've never been successful at. Now that I have actually done something and become successful at something, I look at it more than ever to say to myself, I can't be chasing 2 things at the same time. It's just very, very difficult. So the moment I had made that decision, I don't know, Tony Robbins always talks about the reticular activator. I don't know if you remember that from the UPW.
Yeah.
That part of your brain that when you let's say you buy a new car and you had never seen it in your life, and now you buy the car and suddenly everybody has it.
Yeah.
What is it that triggered in your mind that started only looking for what you wanted to achieve? And so I became so obsessed with like, dude, I'm going to be a great wholesaler. And I don't care what people tell me. I don't care if it has a bad stigma. I don't care if people are not even going to consider me an investor, because I know that I'm going to create capital and then I'll become that rehabber. And then when I create capital, then I'll become that buy and holder. And so I saw like a very long channel by becoming a wholesaler. I saw way ahead of the game than just wholesale a couple of properties. And so the moment that I did that and I started blocking everything else, I think my brain started activating that reticular activator and started like attracting bigger and better deals. It started attracting, better individuals that I did business with. It started attracting, more friends around me that were trying to help me and help me grow my business. It started attracting more buyers and sellers. Like my brain didn't have energy to fucking shoot around different areas. Yeah. So it was only like, like they say, right? The sun can't burn you if you stand under it forever. But if I put a magnifying glass and I put it right to your skin, I'll rip a hole right through your body.
Yep.
So I guess with my brain, I started like narrowing it down so like specific that out of nowhere it started happening and working. And, staying very strict, I didn't end up losing anything. It's like I started gaining so much momentum because of it.
Yeah, no, it's good. I mean, there's like it's a biblical, I'm not very religious or anything, but there's a biblical quote that's like, narrow is the path, how does it go? It's like basically, wide is the path of many, narrow is the path of very little. Basically, so like, and the laser, like the laser that people use to like cut things or whatever, it's all it is concentrated light. Right now you got the sun and you don't get, nothing happens, but condensed concentrated light is a laser and it can cut through walls and cut through anything. So basically what that's getting at, what you mentioned is like, dude, all you have to do is block all the other stuff, concentrate on like one thing and be like laser point at your goals and shit, and you should be able to hit it. So I think that's a really good point. And, did you have like an influence that helped you make that decision, or were you just so pissed at yourself at that point? You're like, this is who I am now.
Yo, like I said, it was a very personal thing that happened to me. It was actually, I'll be very honest here. I don't think I've ever told many people this, but it was a breakup that I had.
Wow.
And the words that were said to me, made me feel as, let's say, a man so less than.
Wow.
That it just triggered something in my brain, because again, I never really cared. Like, oh, you break up with me. Oh, who cares? Like another relationship, right?
Yeah, whatever.
But the words that were expressed at an older age that like they spoke and they pierced through me, I was kind of like, hell no, this is not what the world's going to look at me as. You're crazy. I've been working so hard. I've been claiming I'm going to be the successful millionaire one day, yet the world's view of me is this. No way. Something's got to change, and it's going to change right now. And so that decision was like triggered my brain. I think all the years of personal development started stacking up in my brain at 100 miles an hour. It looked like a filing cabinet, like, and then that's it. From there on out, I just started running full throttle.
Yeah, and I know Tony Robbins talks about like that when someone makes a big change is when the pain exceeds the level of comfort. You know, something I don't want to quote him, but something along those lines. So it seems to me like that happened to you there. You know, like you're just like, yo, that person saying that to you is like, all right, that's it. Like this exceeded what I am right now. Like I could be something different. You took action, which is the most important part.
Correct.
Dude, so let's fast forward. I know right now it's like Corona and all this craziness, but what does like your business look like today? I know you do fix and flipping. I know you do wholesale. I know you do some lending. So tell us a little bit about like what your business world is made up of.
Yeah, man. So obviously our primary business is wholesaling. That's going to be my number one, real big volume. We've made a really good, solid relationship with investors. We've started to build a very solid relationship with agents. Off market's not really our expertise, but we're starting to get a lot better with the off market strategy. Through that, I became a real estate investor. So I actually started buying rehabs. I was doing private lending at the beginning through my attorney. And so that's how I got the hang of, learning how to use private lenders. And then I started building a certain amount of equity and I started buying houses cash. Once that started happening, I started really understanding the model of, what is a rehab, how to make a profit, what are the pain points of lending. And so I was borrowing from my attorney. And one day we sat down and we were like, hey, what do you think about growing a lending company? And, he agreed with me and we jumped in and we built privatelender.com. So, we have those three strategies right now. We have a private lending company, we're, a rehab company, and then primarily a wholesale company.
Oh, yeah, I love that. I think that's an awesome combination of all this stuff. And so you started that, then so you started with the wholesale, then you graduated to the fix and flip stuff, which you mentioned that you kind of visualized in the beginning.
Right.
You got to the private money side. Gotcha. And is there a specific reason why you have it set up that way? Or was it kind of like the opportunity just presented itself and you jumped on it? Or did you have that mapped out?
So I always had it mapped out in my head. I just didn't know when I was going to jump into it. So obviously I didn't start rehabbing deals till like about a year and a half of wholesale. So the reason I did that is because I've been part of rehabs and you have been through many of them yourself.
Right.
They're never as easy as they seem when you first have the idea of jumping in.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So I always knew that. My dad was in construction. So I knew that if I jump into a rehab too early in my career, I'm going to end up getting overwhelmed with trying to wholesale and trying to rehab. And I'm not going to be good at any of them. So I first started wholesaling. Man, I gave up deals that I was like, why did I give that up? But I knew I had a plan. Like I know the moment I jump into the rehab side, I'm going to start finding other problems and I'm going to start taking time from myself and I'm not going to be good. And it's exactly what happened to me when I decided to jump in. But I then jumped into the rehab side and I started seeing shit. There's like a whole business to become a really good rehabber. This is not just a hobby. Hey, let me do a couple of deals. You could do that, but you're not going to be a huge profit. So then I started then at that point looking, and then that's when the lending came in. So I kind of started asking myself, what is it do I really want? So I want to be a rehabber. Not a huge fan of it. So I'm probably going to want to be more of a wholesaler in a lending company. I like these two strategies. I want to work them together. So I kind of started slowing down on the rehab and started accelerating on the lending. And of course, it's a transition because when I'm wholesaling, every time I would hear a buyer, hey, are you cash? Yeah. Oh, I have a loan. I was like, what if I can get these loans? What if I can convert all these loans? That's business in itself.
That's it. That's a really good way to, and if anyone's listening and anyone has a small business or a big business or just starting, dude, getting the streams of income that are already coming to you, right? You had buyers already. You had buyers using lenders. Why not? Start something like that and say, hey, I know you got the lender at, this price. What if I can beat it by a little bit? Would you go with me?
Correct.
And it's a very easy way to say, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, it was an easy segue, and I mostly wanted to do it for control. Even if I was making half a point, it was the control of knowing that I was going to get that wholesale closed versus knowing someone else had the opportunity to tell me, oh, no, we couldn't fund them. You got to cancel the deal.
Right.
Man, I wasn't interested in those.
Yeah. And that's happened to every wholesaler.
Of course.
Hold on, let me pause it first. Dude, but that's, that's important to see. And I know we spoke briefly, I think like a couple of days ago, and you told me more about the lending and stuff. So guys, if you're listening to this, man, and you're in wholesale, you're in investing, or let's say you sell whatever, learn about the other businesses around your business, and I think that's so key because it's such an easy transition to make more money, grow your wealth, grow relationships, things of that nature. So that's freaking awesome, man. Dude, let me ask you this, man, because I heard you say the word obsessed earlier. I feel like everyone who starts a business or everyone who decides to make money on their own or really try to like achieve things, everyone has like a little like chip, or everyone is like obsessed with something. So I wanted to ask you, like, what do you feel you might be like obsessed with? It could be non-business related too. But what do you feel like you might be obsessed with?
Yeah, it's funny, man. Like, this pandemic has given me a little bit of time to think about life. I'm sure it's happened to many of us. We were talking about that the other day. Yeah. And, I had a realization that, I've been obsessed to work, right? I've been obsessed to the ability of making money. So I wouldn't say it's work. I'm not obsessed with working, but I'm obsessed with the ability of making money. And, the moment you start doing that and you can get good at it and you can almost start printing your own money, right? Because you know that what the next step is going to be to get paid. It almost becomes, and this is a realization I had, so I didn't know this, a month and a half ago, but it almost becomes an identity you have. Yeah. Well, my identity was, I'm Mike, the investor. I'm Mike Rockwood. I'm Mike, the worker. I get into the office at 8. I leave out of my office at 7:30, 8 p.m. I'm on calls on the way home. I get to my house. I'm still working. Like, it was an obsession I had, and I loved it. It was amazing. And the moment this pandemic took that from me, man, I spent like 2 or 3 days a little lost. Like, what do I do now? Like, and I started really realizing how I had created this identity of this man that just works, and that's what I am, and that's how I show my value to the world, and that's how I prove that I'm worthy, right? By grinding. And now you took this from me, and I was in my scooter. I have one of those electric scooters, and I'm driving through my house.
Yeah, I'd love to see you in that thing.
Yeah, they're amazing. I know how to sit down and everything and ride it like I'm on a chopper. And I'm riding through the scooter, and I'm asking myself, like, dude, what is there to do in life right now, right? And it almost like hit me like, no, man, that's not life. That's just a part of my life. And I really need to get used to knowing when I'm on and knowing when I'm off. So, it's crazy. If you asked me this question a month and a half ago, what am I obsessed with? Work. If you ask me today, I wouldn't say I have an obsession right now, but I definitely have an awakening to the way I'm living life right now. And I'm not saying I'm not going to get back into work and grind.
Right.
I'm also going to get back and understand that, hey, work time is work time, and family time is family time, and lifetime is lifetime. And I need to learn how to have my 100% in all areas.
Yeah. No, and that's important, bro. That's so important, man. Like, and I kind of like what you're saying is like, you just got a little bit more aware of things. And Warren Buffett, asked a question once. I read it somewhere or something. Warren Buffett said, okay, if let's say you're back in elementary school and you were to see all the kids in the classroom and you were to bet on one kid in your elementary class, who would it be and why? And basically, if the kid is not you, ask why. But Warren Buffett said when they asked Warren Buffett, hey, who would you pick? He said, I'd pick the kid who's most aware. I'd pick the kid who asks the weirdest questions. I'd pick the kid who gets there and questions the teacher. I'd pick the kid who's aware of what's going on around them. So basically, kind of like what I'm hearing is happening to you is like you're just getting more aware, dude, that like it's time to work. And this happens, like, you're not alone, dude. This shit happens to everybody, I think. Like, everyone who like really tries to achieve, this is like happening, you know? And it's just, I feel like you never win, right? It's just like, I'm working a lot, now I'm playing a lot, now I'm chilling a lot, you know, like, it never ends. But I think it was a very good perspective for you to mention it. And I love the way you kind of said it, like, dude, I identified myself as a worker. Now it's gone. And now I'm like, I don't identify myself as anything. I just know that I work and I have family and stuff like that. So I think that's pretty cool. Like, what do you think, like, coming forward, like, kind of seeing what you learn now from that, moving forward, what do you think you'd shape differently in day-to-day life? Like, do you think you can use time blocking more? Like, how are you going to apply that to like something that you're actually going to do, like, in work and stuff?
Yeah, so there's certain things that I've been looking at that I think is very important for us to apply, and time blocking is something more than ever. You have to learn how to use very well, because sometimes you get busy just being busy, and yeah, you might have a lot of work going on, but you start realizing, and you look at the whole day, like how much of it was I wasted time, where I was just involved with what I was doing longer because I was just it was entertaining me.
Yeah.
And then you realize you took a lot of time from other areas of your life. So that's one thing. But number two, I think for me this time around, it's made me really realize how, yeah, man, we're in great transaction businesses. So, our money is based on our next activity. But I'm really, really, really committed to coming out of this one. How the hell am I going to build a residual lifestyle? How am I going to build that lifestyle that is going to give me that freedom of time, yet still have the excitement of money? And I used to always think, well, no, you have to work really hard to have money. But now I'm looking at it like, no, you don't always have, yeah, you have to work really hard in the beginning. But if you're working smart and hard at the same time, at some point, you're going to have more time and still have a lot of money. I was just comparing time is money. So if I put a lot of time in, I'm going to get paid a lot of money.
Right.
And so now I'm like, no, that doesn't have to always equal itself. I can figure out ways where I can get the time back and still have the money increasing every single year. And now more than ever, that's what my commitment is.
Gotcha. I gotcha. Yeah. And that's definitely a shift in mindset, right? Like what you just described there is a pretty big piece of like the worker's mentality puzzle, like a lot of people think that way, time, I put in more hours, I make more. But like that can only last so long. When you're 60
Correct.
years old, you get me? Like you're not going to be putting in 50, 60, 70 hours a week. So how do you do it? So you set it up. I think it was Ty Lopez or a video. I saw something that he said, everyone becomes a millionaire, but at the average American, it takes an average of 120 years to become a millionaire. Right? If you were to work 120 years, you become a millionaire.
Right.
So basically, you got to find ways to condense that and do it quicker. And that comes through working smart. And that comes through different business ideas and things like that. Dude, let me ask you this. So, you've been able, you kind of started from not the best high school student ever. I remember you told me you like worked a regular sales job, and, now you're real estate investing, flipping, you got hard money. What, like all that stuff happened. What are some habits you think that were able to get you there? You know what I'm saying? Like if, let's say you're talking to someone that's new in the business or someone that's just wants to start out in business or real estate, what are some habits that you started back then and even still have today that are like good habits that helped you achieve that like success?
Yeah, man, for me, I think I have a lot of specific habits. And, I think they're like part of my life right now. But when I look back at time, I think it was the real big, shift. One of them is I've been very, very involved in personal development. Okay. And so many, many years ago, I heard, the best investment you can ever have in your life is investing in yourself. And it's the investment that'll pay tenfold. And so I took that on. I said, all right, cool. If you're saying that if I invest in myself, I'm going to change, then I'm just going to invest in myself. And I truthfully became like a seminar junkie.
Oh, really?
for 2 to 3 years, I was a seminar junkie. I would go from seminar to seminar because I would meet somebody at the seminar and they would tell me about another seminar. And dude, I had $50,000-$60,000 a year of bills in seminars alone, you know, with not increasing my income. It was just like seminars. But I started realizing today, I look at back right now and I'm like, all those little seeds that I was planting in my head now are starting to blossom.
Yeah.
And it also allows me to be in positions and my mind thinks faster. Because of course, I've juiced myself up with all these ideas. It's hard for you to make me become negative. It's hard for you to tell me, hey, you lost, $50,000 and I go more than a day or two of being pissed off. It's hard for some deal fall apart and I'm pissed off for more than 25 minutes. It's hard for you to hold me in a negative place right now. And that to me is worth billions of dollars because I don't let those normal life things affect me. So that's one of them. Number two, I've also become very addicted to waking up early. Even now during this pandemic, I still wake up early and the first thing I'm doing is I'm like trying to read something positive and trying to get my brain going. And, I'm either meditating or something, or I have, my girl helps me out a lot with that, like, hey, let's do a meditation. Hey, let's do a prayer. And those things are keeping my mind healthy. And dude, when you're a business owner, you knowing in the beginning, you're practically just grinding all day with no result. And you got to be very strong-minded. Oh, yeah. And I feel a lot of people don't get that. They want to do 3 months and then they're like, oh yeah, this business doesn't work. 3 months, dude, commit to 3 years and then make that determination.
Yep.
Don't go 4 months and say this didn't work. Like, give me a break. What muscle grows in 4 months? What relationship is strong in 4 months? Yeah. What baby walks in 4 months, and they're now sprinting.
Yeah.
And so I think, Tony Robbins always says something that really stuck to me was, a lot of people overestimate what they can do within 12 months, but they underestimate what they can do in a decade. Mm-hmm. And guys, this is a long journey, man. I'm hoping to live to like 95, 100. I'm not even at a third, I'm at 36%. I'm 36. So I'm 36% of my life. Wow. Think about when you're in a battery pack and you're like, damn, only 36%. When is this going to happen? Give me a break, man.
Well, that's a really good way to put it. So, yeah, you just started becoming obsessed with just being better, man, with personal development. Exactly. And that's a really good obsession to pick, man. That's a really good obsession to pick. Mm-hmm. And you mentioned like Tony Robbins, you mentioned different seminars, and you mentioned now, like, you probably didn't see it then, but like what you were doing was putting specific things in your brain. And like you mentioned, when things came up, you're like, it clicked from a seminar 2 years ago. Man, the speaker said, exactly. this and this. And you're like, and then you're able to act on that situation. And those things compound over time.
Exactly. Look, I always think of it like sports. Like, I always talk to the team and I always talk to people about sports because obviously basketball is my favorite sport. And I think to myself, like, you look at a guy like, I don't know, Michael Jordan, best athlete, whatever. It's a debate. Don't get into it. Best athlete in basketball. Yeah. And, that guy didn't become a star in the game. He became a star in practice. And so he shot the same shot so many times that at the moment when you have that defender jumping at you, about to block you, it's happening in osmosis, right? It's just happening and you make the point and you're a winner. So then I realized going to so many seminars, it was like just programming things and I was using none of it, but I kept going to more seminars and it was just more programs and more programs. And then 2-3 years later, those programs started to become a reality. And I was watching myself like, how did I say that? Damn, how did I act like that? Holy shit, did you notice what I did there? Because I'm a very aware person. I always look back at my mistakes or my victories. And I look at them and I'm like, damn, I can't believe I did that. Like, where did that come from? Of course, 3 years ago, I probably was in a seminar and they were like, hey, when this happens, do this. And I was like, yeah, that guy, I don't even know what he's talking about. I wasn't in business. Yeah. But now that I'm in business, all those business seminars that I was going to and all these business books that I was reading started kicking in. started kicking into reality.
Yeah, yeah.
And so that's why my obsession is still to read books, listen to audios, go to events, even if they weren't even for me. I'm like, fuck it, it's $500. Let me just go. I grab one golden nugget and something's happening back there.
Yeah.
The words are going to work for me one day.
And fuck, that's good because like how many times, and I'm sure you have friends and bro, like, and you're a successful dude. So the way sometimes when you talk to people, you might think differently about certain things, but what would you say to people who, let's say there's a Tony Robbins seminar, or let's say a good real estate seminar costs $1,000, and someone says, "Nah, man, I can learn more at home on YouTube or stuff like that." Like, what would you say to someone like that? And not in a negative way, but in a way more of coming from inspiration. Like, because I'm sure you hear that all the time. Like, oh no, but that seminar, it's not worth the money or this and that. Like you've gone to so many, you're, relatively young guy, dude. Like you've done a lot of things. What would you say to that person? And like, how would you inspire them in a different way than they're probably thinking right now?
Yeah, man. Look, I tell everybody, my whole entire team, we all went to Tony Robbins. We've done it twice. Oh, wow. I can say that it's backfired on me a little bit sometimes because I've empowered too much. And you know what? Look, at the end of the day, I want to inspire people. I like that. So if for my business it didn't benefit me, hey, it is what it is. I know that in the long run, whoever got inspired because of the actions I've taken and their lives became better, then it was a victory for me. But as a business owner, sometimes you're kind of like, damn, how did that happen to me, right? Yeah. But you also got to stop and think for a minute, Mike. It's not only about the business, it's also about life. And if their life becomes better, then hey, that is going to pay the world tenfold. But I also tell people like, listen, man, and I would say it's a kind of a cliche answer because it's like, if you don't have $1,000 to invest, well, then you should invest $1,000 in yourself, right? Yeah. But it's true, man. If you're struggling to invest in $1,000, you're 25 years old, or 31 years old, 36 years old, what you got to really ask yourself is what's missing, right? What are my blocks? Because, dude, I'm a human being. I have organs. I'm breathing. I have my arms, my legs, my heart, my organs are all working in here. Yeah. I'm being able to breathe. My heart is pumping. I'm normal human like the next guy that's successful. Then the difference between him and I is not physical. It's not emotional, but it's mental. I truly believe that the difference between me and the next success, the difference between me and a billionaire is a mental funk that I have. It has nothing to do with he's smarter, better looking, more athletic, none of it. All it is that his mindset was more obsessed and more driven, and he was more committed to surrounding himself with the right people and connecting with the right people, and I'm not there right now. That's the only difference. So in order for me to get to them, I gotta listen to them. I gotta hear the way they think. I gotta see the way they act. I gotta do the things they do. Because if I'm doing that, it might not happen in a year. It might not happen in 3 years. But in the next 5 to 10 years, this shit has to kick in. It has to kick in. It has to. I won't believe that it's not going to kick in. So I advise people all the time, dude, invest in yourself. Invest in the most valuable tool you have, your brain. A brain that can push away, make you poor, or make you rich, make you homeless, or make you live in a nice house, make you fat, or make you ripped. The brain is the one in control of all of it, and you need to control that little tool that's running wild on its own. Yeah. Like past experiences or stories your mom used to tell you, like, oh, money doesn't grow on trees. No, it's fucking in a bank, and it's a digit that I need to work for. Your whole life you've been hearing, oh, it doesn't grow on trees, so it's not easy, it's hard, I don't deserve it. My family never got it. Change that thought pattern, and trust me, you'll change the money around you.
I love that, bro. That's good. It's like those limiting beliefs and those things like that comes from like learning from people. That comes from just listening to somebody. It could be like it could be like you're in a restaurant and then that the guy next to you is like, wearing a fancy watch or something. So you could tell that someone has some money. And just by seeing the mannerisms and hearing how they talk, like that could influence something in you. So being like that awareness and going to like these seminars and being there, feeling that emotion in your body, like when you're there and you see like the crowd standing up for one guy, or like these types of things create an emotional reaction in you, which can have huge impact. So I know, like, if money's tight and you don't have enough to go to a seminar, I get it. I'm not bashing on you. But the better question is like what Mike said is, dude, ask yourself not, where's the $500 or $1,000? Just ask yourself, what's missing that I'm, 25 years old or 30 years old and like I'm thinking about $1,000 seminar fee. Like what's missing? There's something that's missing there. So ask yourself the bigger questions.
Yeah, and look, another question I asked, which is a great, thing that you're saying to the group, like ask yourself the question. The question is, ask yourself this. If I told you that at the third day of that seminar, I'm writing you $1 million check, would you figure out how to come up with $1,000? So then if you're asking yourself, oh my God, how am I going to come up with this? I'm not going to be able to afford it. That's already a limiting belief. But if I said, damn, going to that seminar is going to make me successful, and I believe it, trust me, dude, I was 23 years old when I started doing this. I was trying to get out of bad habits. I was caught up in a couple of bad habits I shouldn't have been in. And I didn't have the money, but dude, I called my sister, I called my uncle, I called my dad, I asked my mom, I asked my friends, cause they had told me, dude, this is what helped me. There was a guy that was going through, a problem, like an addiction problem like me. And he was like, I got out of it with this. And I said, I gotta be there, and I started fucking calling people up. Let me some money. That's $500, $495. I promise you, I'll pay you back. No, Mike, I don't have the money. Okay, cool. That book, can you give me $400? Yeah, go out by $200 So you go, come listen to me. Okay, that's not the guy. Mom, can you lend me $500? And I think my sister was the first one that lent me the first $495 to go to a UPW. And because my head was like, dude, I need to figure it out, because he told me that he stopped his problems because he went there. I need to stop my problems,
Yeah.
So you got to ask yourself, if you knew there was $1 million at the end of the seminar, would you still have the same problem? No, you'll become very fucking creative and very, very intelligent and really quick, and come up with $50 per person. And then there's your $500.
Yeah.
So people just don't see the value because they don't believe that your mind can shift your reality.
Yeah, that's the point right there. That you said it perfectly. Like, you have to believe that like the information you get from shit like this will actually help you, man. Like, the mind is what makes the money. The mind is what gets you fit. Like you mentioned, dude, like the mind is that. And if you continue to feed it things that aren't helping you get to to your goals and your financial goals and stuff, if you keep feeding it different things, like, how do you expect your mind to make you money, or to influence you to make you money, when you're watching things that don't make you any money? You understand? Like pretend and forget about the mind, but like anything else, if you don't train your dog to piss outside, how do you expect it to piss outside? It's going to piss in the house,
Yo, I promise you, if you own a sports car and you're putting water in the tank, you're not going to be able to drive at super speeds. So if you're putting water in your tank, if you're putting shit in your tank, if you're listening to the conversations that are like, oh my God, the economy, it's so bad. Oh my God, this pandemic. Dude, I don't really want to listen to that. Okay, I get it. The fact is the fact. I'm not going to be ignorant either. But all right, in this time, who the hell is learning? Who the hell is winning? Who the hell is growing? Those are the people I want to learn to. I don't want to listen to the guy that keeps telling me every day, hey, we have a coronavirus. I get it, bro. We had it, a couple of months back. It's still, it hasn't changed.
Yeah. No, yeah. It's like you said, it's not about being ignorant, but it's about filtering what goes in you so that the input helps the output. So it's
correct.
I think that's good. Mike, I heard you mention like you've been to a bunch of seminars. Who are some of like the role models or some of the people that you're following today? Nowadays, to like keep yourself inspired, or in real estate or whatever, like who are you following nowadays?
Yeah, I follow this guy Raul Balufe. You know him?
Tremendo idiot.
No, man, honestly, Tony is one of my big role models just because I love the whole passion that he has.
Yeah.
Very electric like that too. So he just resonates with me. Doesn't mean that that's for everybody. When
Right.
it comes to real estate, I've been starting to dive in a little bit into the lease options. So I've been, listening to people that are professionals at that to see how I can understand and educate myself in that space. Obviously I look at and I learn a lot of people like Tim Bratz because of the commercial
Oh yeah.
aspect of it. And that to me is like my real end goal to build that, 1,000 unit, syndication style model where I'm not, the full runner of the process, but I'm benefiting from the process. So I'm also learning things like that, so I wouldn't say that right now I have like a specific role model, but I think I've progressed in life enough that now I'm just learning from people that are giving me what I'm interested in. So, I try to really dig in and listen, at the end of the day, for me, if I hear one good golden nugget on a 1 hour phone call, it was worth my 1 hour.
Exactly.
Because that one gold nugget, knowing that I'm going to apply it and I'm going to get it to work,
That's the point.
60 minutes can give me, 60,000 within the next 30 days.
Easy.
And that to me was very beneficial.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. Yeah. Cause, and that is what you said there. You said it easy, but a lot of people have trouble with that part. And the part is the applying. So like you learn it, but you also know, like you, Mike, I mean, you're a successful dude and you have a lot of things going on. But in you, like if I get something, I'm going to apply it. And I want to encourage whoever's listening, man. It's basically two things. You just gotta learn stuff and then execute it, apply it to your life, whatever you find valuable. Because without the execution, what do you get? Man, you get nothing. Like if you learn how to wholesale, but you never go out there and talk to a seller, how far you really think you're going to get?
Exactly. Look, I tell people all the time, and it might not be the right way, but it's the way that it's worked for me. Is that I rather, what's the saying? I rather apologize than ask permission. And so the reality is I learned something and I'm just like, how I'm going to figure out if this is going to work? Let's just do it. Yeah, but you're saying things wrong. It doesn't matter. They don't know I'm saying it wrong. They know less than I do. Again, I'm not going to talk to a professional that knows about the subject more than me and act like an idiot. But to the seller that, it doesn't really know much, or an agent that might not be experienced, and I'm telling them, lease options, and this is how it works, and this is what we're going to do, and we're going to get paid, and you do it with enough excitement, you do it with enough confidence, they'll listen, man. Yeah. And then after you finish the call, you're like, okay, I wouldn't say that again. I should have not have said that. Yeah. But now I have a confidence in me. Now I have like an excitement in me. I'm not paralyzed by like analysis paralysis. I'm not thinking, oh shit, what should I say? No, let me just say whatever my head says, and then I'll come back and be like, yep, next phone call. Do not promise this. Do not say that. Wow, that sounded really good. I'm going to repeat that one over and over, and then you're building it out. But if you're not trying things, the reality is, how are you going to know? Like, I can tell you, all right, go do a push-up, and you can be like, all right, I'm going to put my hands this way, and I'm going to put my hands that way. And dude, until you do the first push-up, you're not going to know what hand model works best for you.
Yeah, exactly.
So just get on the damn push-up already, bro. Stop thinking about it,
Yeah. Yeah. It's like the famous Nike quote, like, just do it, bro. Just get in there and do it. And imperfect action's better than nothing.
Hey, give me a second. Hold on.
Yeah. See the guy's chair now.
You should never laugh. Don't throw stones if you live in a glass house, right?
So yeah, I just want to ask you one more question, and then I want to get to kind of like what you do if you had to start over. So let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. You think of $100 million. What is that for you? Like in your mind, how is the 100 million? Like, how do you get there? Like, is it in real estate? Basically, you think right now, someone says 100 million. What comes to mind? How do you get there?
Man. So, a month and a half ago, nah, just kidding. So, $100 million, I think for me, the private lending space is something that gives you that potential. The thing I love about that space is it gives you multiple incomes.
Yep.
One of the incomes is transactional, right? The points you get during the deal. Another income is residual, the residual from every monthly payment. But that business has a very sexy, sellable opportunity. And if you build enough of a book of business, you're worth a lot of money to big hedge funds. So that book of business to me is very, very exciting. Second thing I think about is $100 million is holding real estate in a bigger scale, commercial buildings or multifamily, homes, not homes, multifamily buildings. So, those are the two things in the space that I'm in the space that I'm comfortable with, in that space that I believe in. Now, do I see other things like, internet stuff? I believe that, those are things that are going to give you, great payoffs. But I don't think my brain is equipped to be, all day data. And, I'm just not that type of guy.
Yeah.
So it's not my area. But within the space of real estate, those are the two that
like that.
I truly believe I can have that potential to make it to the 100 million plus style lifestyle,
That's a really good answer. So let's say that Mike, Trump went in and wiped your accounts and you went shopping with it or whatever. And that's it. Mike had no more money. Maybe you had a couple $100. How would you get a deal? Forget Corona, right? Like just pretend we're regular times. How would you get a deal nowadays with, just a couple $100 in your pocket?
Yeah, man, look, when we started, it was a couple $100. I literally started, out of a company that I was working for, and I was a 31-year-old man, and I had a 23-year-old friend of mine that we both left the company with. I had no money, and I told him, hey, I got an idea. Why don't we rent a property together? So we rented a 2-2 condo, and his office was his bedroom, my office was my bedroom, and then we would meet in the living room about our deals. So imagine I'm 30 years old, I'm with a 23-year-old, like convincing him to leave his mom's house to like get into real estate with me. And we had, I think, like maybe a few $1,000 between both of us to be able to put escrows, right?
Wow.
And we were like, listen, this is what I know we can do. Let's call. Let's call. Let's call. And then once we can lock up a deal, turn around and let's call and figure out a buyer. And dude, that's exactly how we started it. We would be working. He was on acquisition and I was on disposition. And then we would meet in the middle and we were like, yo, you got anything? Yeah, I got this one. All right, let me go to work. Hey, you're interested in buying this house? 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 Until we got our first wholesale. And we were like, yeah, we're fucking ballers, like we did it. The moment we got the first one, it became a reality. So at this moment, I look at it like, dude, you take everything from me. I know how to make money. Like I already established that, as long as I can keep my brain healthy, because a lot of people go really, really high and then you take everything from them. And because their identity was that businessman that was very successful and now it's all taken apart, their brain ripped them apart and said, you're nothing now.
Right.
They don't know how to get back on the horse. But I'm aware enough. I understand that, my mind, if I can just control that guy, get him back to normal, I know how to make money. I know how to lead a team. I know how to buy houses. I know how to sell properties. Like it's a craft I've learned and you've learned and other people in this call that have gotten good at it has learned. You can't take that from me ever in your whole life unless you take real estate out of the industry, unless houses aren't sold. So, you take me out and Donald Trump spends all my money, then you know what? I gotta get back to the beginning days, which is what we're going through right now. I feel like I'm a startup again.
Yeah, me too. Which is in your case, MLS, I imagine would be the first way you'd look to get a deal.
MLS is my way that I'm gonna get my first deal. MLS is my way I'll get my now deal. MLS will be the way I get future deals.
Yeah.
It's cheap because it's free. The listing agents did all the work for you. They already got the listing for you. They already got a seller to raise their hand. And now all I got to do is convince them to sell it to me at a cheaper price.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So, it's something that I'll jump on immediately and I'll get back to work. And listen, guys, like the question is so fantastic because I feel like we're going through it right now.
I love it. Bro, I know that you probably drank some extra coffee and I love that. You're energetic. No, but you're always energetic, and I appreciate that. It's like you don't meet a lot of people that have like high energy and like good enthusiasm and stuff, and it comes from a genuine place. Kind of known you for a while. It's not like you just being like that. That's awesome. But yeah, dude, if you lose everything, or if any of you guys people don't believe in the MLS thing or whatever, but it's pretty simple. Get on there, make houses that you can buy or that you have bought, and just start negotiating, man. Happen, right? It's not going to happen tomorrow. Keep going. So man, that's some really good stuff. Dude, I appreciate you coming on, and kind of just like sharing some of the stuff learned and the seminar junkie stuff. I think that, if people listen to this the whole way through, you definitely got a lot of value coming from someone that, started in high school and went to a regular job, became an investor, then now has a couple different companies doing things. It's inspirational, and I'm glad that you're able to share it, man. So I appreciate that.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you getting me on. It's always great to talk to other people like yourself that have gone through similar experiences. And obviously, we love to be around people that are grinding their mindset and they're working and they understand that success is not an easy road, but it's a well worth it one, because it's not only the money you make at the end, it's the experiences you go through, it's the journey you get to grow through. Yeah. There's a lot of things that you get to win, and it's not only the money. Some people always, associate success to capital. And, honestly, it's not that, man. If you're really looking at all the things you're getting through the process, like if I were to go back 10 years back, like I asked myself, like, you're crazy, man. This was all worth it. I've become a whole different person.
Yeah, dude. Even if things fall apart, it's kind of like, man, the people you met, the experiences you had, just kind of getting there. And it never ends, bro. And that's the beautiful part. It never really ends.
Yeah.
Never ends, man. So man, I appreciate that, dude. And if you guys are listening to this, I hate to scare you, but it's never gonna end. Bye.
It's never gonna end. Dun, dun, dun.
So, but I appreciate Mike. So how can people follow you or reach out to you if they're in Miami, or if they just want to learn and kind of more connect with you and your businesses and things like that?
Yeah, man. Those that don't follow me on Instagram, DM me. It's Mike Venereo. It used to be Mike Rockwood, but people thought that was my last name, so I decided to change that.
I thought it was your last name.
I know, right? I think I'd rather have Rockwood than Venereo. I'll tell you that much. But maybe I'll change that again. But Mike Venereo, you can reach me at Instagram. You can DM me. And man, if you have any questions, anything you want to talk about, business, mindset, life, be more than glad to reach out. I'd love to talk to you, connect, and see how we can, put some stuff together.
I love it. I appreciate that, man. So guys, give him a follow. Mike Venereo, Rockwood Investments, if you're down in South Florida. And what was the lending business again? What was the website?
Privatelender.com.
Privatelender.com. That's an awesome domain. Privatelender.com. So guys, check them out. I'll put the stuff in the show notes. And I appreciate you again, Mike. And I'll see you guys on the next episode.
All right, cool, man. Great job, brother.
Peace.